وما يذكر إلا أولو الألباب.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. In the name of Almighty Allah, the entirely merciful and the specially merciful. Dear audience across this globe, I greet you with the greeting of peace. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. And peace be unto all of you. And I hope that we improve the quality of peace in this world so that we can enjoy it much better than we do. Again, the name of these episodes is Understanding Islam. What makes it unique is that we take the verses from the Quran, so it's not about our opinion. From these verses, we see how the Quran is essential in understanding Islam. This is one of the important things that you need to look at, to consider, to think of it. If you ask people, if you ask educators, if you ask experts, if you ask scholars, if you ask scientists, how do you classify people? How do we classify people? In all the books that you read and you study, how do you classify them? Some people classify human beings according to their nobility or their social status in society. Some belong to the elite, some belong to the royal family, some belong to the government. Okay, some other people may classify human beings differently. They classify them according to the color of their complexion. White, black, yellow, as they used to call some people yellow. Some people would classify them according to the level of the richness that they have, rich and poor, and the outcast. So people are different in looking at human beings. What is the true way of classifying people? Anyway, we've seen some trials of human beings. Let's see now how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala classifies people. And this is very clear from the first page of the Quran after the chapter that's called the mother of the book, al-Kitab al-Fatiha. In Surah Al-Baqarah, the first chapter after this, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala classifies people, and I want you to look at this and understand very, very precisely, into three categories. And I want you to look at my hands. One category is here. The other category is here, almost on the same line. And the third category is below the second category. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. So here is 1, al-mu'minun, and here is 2, al-kafirun, the disbelievers. The first one is the believers, and the second one is the disbelievers, and the third one is the hypocrites. So now we have 3, 1 here and 2 on the left. This is the best category. The believers versus the disbelievers. I'd like to tell you something important. Here, the believers refers to the believers at the time of Dawood, at the time of Musa, at the time of Nuh, at the time of Isa, at the time of Muhammad. All those are classified according to this. Now, of course, we know that when we say the believers now, we refer to the believers who believe in the message of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, because all the other ones has already passed away. Now, when we say believers, we mean the believers in the message of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala describes the situation of the people. Believers at all times, they will be the ones who will go to paradise. And the disbelievers are the ones who are going to go to hellfire. But who is the one who is under the disbelievers are the hypocrites. So those two categories, the disbelievers and the hypocrites, will be in hellfire. and those ones will be in paradise. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives description for each group, for each one of these three categories. But let me ask you this simple question. Who is the worst among these three groups? The worst one is number 3, which is the hypocrites. And the main reason, we know that they fall into the big category of disbelieving, but they are punished much more. They get more severe punishment than the disbelievers, because that they are disbelievers, yet they play a game and they pretend that they are believers so that they can deceive them. So plus that they are disbelievers, they don't believe in the message that had been brought by their messengers at their time, yet they pretend to be believers in order to deceive them. And they may succeed to deceive them. So there's people, the believers, may be convinced that they are believers, but in reality they are disbelievers and playing this kind of dirty game so that they would distract and they would be able to deceive the believers. Some people until now, of course, they play this game, and definitely some of them are the spies. Spy from this side, they come close to the believers and try to pretend that they are believers so that they would get some information and they would be trusted by them and they would be accepted by them. Then after that they do their dirty game, and they take many forms, and it's quite obvious that their number is increasing nowadays. But anyway, this is how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala describes them. One quality of this kind of people, they have many qualities, but I'll focus on one quality only. One quality that had been mentioned by Almighty Allah is that they know the languages very well. They are trained to use the language in a precise way. And in this way, when you perfect a language, no doubt you can communicate effectively with other people. And we know the role of communication in this world nowadays. So when they communicate well, they can convince the disbelievers, the naive disbelievers, the naive believers, that they are believers. So one of their qualities is that they know the language very well. I'll tell you that to read this in Surah Al-Baqarah, and this ayah that tells them that وَإِذَا لَقُوا الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا قَالُوا آمَنَّا وَإِذَا خَلَوْا إِلَى شَيَاطِينِهِمْ قَالُوا إِنَّا مَعَكُمْ. This ayah is ayah number 14. Look at this. وَإِذَا لَقُوا الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا قَالُوا آمَنَّا. Underline the word aman. When they meet the believer, they say that we believed. They used the verbal sentence amanna. But when they meet with their group of people where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala called them here the devils, they use the nominal sentence. So verbal sentence is used with the good believers, and the nominal sentence they used it with the disbelievers. Why is this? The verbal sentence is not emphatically stronger than the nominal sentence. The nominal sentence in Arabic, the sentence that begins with the noun, is more emphatic in Arabic language than the verbal sentence that begins with the verb. When I tell you, for example, I believed or I became a Muslim in 2003, I want you to think of this. In English, does this sentence imply that I am a Muslim right now, in year 2015? No, it does not. When I say that I became a Muslim in 2003, it does not imply that now I'm a Muslim. It may mean that I am a Muslim now, and it may mean that this is the date that I became a Muslim, but now I might have converted. I might have apostated from Islam. So that's why they used the verbal sentence with the believers, because the possibility that's in it. The believer, the simple believers would say, oh, they are Muslims. No, the sentence does not imply this. And they are the same people, the same hypocrites, when they met with the disbelievers. The disbeliever felt jealous, very jealous and very upset when they saw the hypocrites talking to the Muslims as if they are Muslims. In other words, they deceived them. And therefore, when they met with them, they needed to emphasize that they are still disbelievers, and that's why they used the nominal sentence. نحن كافرون. So they needed to use the nominal sense. وإذا لقوا الذين آمنوا قالوا آمنا وإذا خلوا إلى شياطينهم قالوا إنا معكم. We are with you. We are still disbelievers. And the nominal sentence, one feature, one quality about it is that it receives emphatic articles before it. So that's why we are with you. And then they say that indeed we are with you. Inna ma'akum. So they use the nominal sentence and an emphatic article to emphasize that they are still disbelievers. You see, this quality, linguistic ability of using these things and knowing the details of every language makes them convincing in their style when they present their situation. So they managed to deceive the Muslims because they used the verbal sentence that may mean this or that, whereas they used the emphatic nominal sentence with the disbelievers. Those caliber of people are the worst human beings in this world. So now I want you to see yourself how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala classifies human beings from the perspective of Allah. Believers versus disbelievers, and the lowest one is the hypocrites. It's quite important. You know that some of the companions were so anxious about this situation, were so worried that they may be some of them, because this issue of being hypocrite, it's something in the heart. You may be a hypocrite person without knowing, which is so sensitive to everybody and so important to everybody to know who he is and to know how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala classifies people. And the consequences is they are the worst humans in the world are those ones who are classified as hypocrites. Oh Allah, keep hypocrisy away from our hearts. Ameen. آمين والسلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.